Chosia Tessa Tulalip. My name is Tessa Campbell, and I'm the Senior Curator for the Tulalip Tribe's Hibulb Cultural Center, where I've been employed for the last 11 years. And I'm going to be giving a little tutorial on how to care for your items in your own home. These are basic tips that anyone can do. These aren't extravagant tips that people do in the museum profession. So over the last decade, when I've been at the center, I've received a lot of questions from the general public. You know, how can I preserve this artifact? How can I take care of a photograph? And so I'm going to be going over the 4 most common objects or items that I receive questions for. And that includes photographs, newspapers, basketry, and documents. And so if you're like me, during COVID, I found myself, bored at home, and it was the opportune moment to go through closets and dresser drawers and just start getting rid of stuff. I had ample time, several months, but during this time I came across items that I forgot I had. And so the items that people want to take care of tend to be family heirlooms, memorabilia, photographs, family history. And so there are 5 things, deterrents that affect the preservation of an artifact and how long it will last. And this includes light, temperature, humidity, which we call relative humidity, pests, and I'm not talking about pesty neighbors. I'm talking about like things like insects or rats. And last one is people. So how people handle or care for items really can impact the longevity of an item. So we're going to go ahead and get started. And so the first thing you obviously do when you come across an item is you handle it. And I want to say that our hands naturally have oil on them. And so every time you pick up a photograph or a document, you're likely to leave a fingerprint. So the way we keep that from happening is I recommend buying some gloves if you're going to handle photographs or documents. And I like to buy the Nitrile Gloves. There's several different kinds, like latex, but a lot of people have latex allergies, so I always go for the Nitrile. They come in different sizes: small, medium, large, extra large. And the other type of glove that's out there and available is a cotton glove. These are cotton. You'll see the museum people wearing these a lot. But I don't recommend wearing these for carrying or transporting slippery objects such as glass objects. I don't really like to wear them while handling basketry, because basketry can kind of have little it can snag on the baskets, the woven basketry. So we'll go ahead and get started. And I'm going to start with how to store photographs. So we have a photograph of my grandmother here, and the best way to store them is to put them in what I call, these are polyethylene sleeves. And what's great is once they're in the sleeve, you no longer have to wear gloves to handle them. And the sleeves you can order different sizes, and there's also another type which is called Mylar. There's Mylar Sleeves. And so Mylar is more expensive. It's very expensive material, and you can buy any of these objects I'm discussing on museum archival supply sites. One is Gaylord. University Project Products is another one. Demco sells some items. Amazon also sells many of these items I'm going to be discussing. And so once you have it in your sleeve, the best way to store them is in a acid-free folder and store them in the acid-free box. It's best to store them flat, and you can also label the folder. But it's recommended to write in pencil because once you write in pen, it's irreversible. Pencil can be removed. I do not recommend storing your photos in I'm sure you all remember the magnetic 1980s horrific photo albums where once the photo's inside, it's stuck. You are not getting it out. Those are not good for storing photos because they're non-archival. And when you try to remove them, they can end up damaging the photo. So the best method is the polyethylene sleeves and storing them flat. So next I'm going to talk about documents. So I'm going to be showing you an envelope here, and you'll notice that the envelope has some yellowing in the corner. And so if you store paper in direct sunlight or any type of lighting over the years, it will start to yellow, and that's due to the acidity. It reacts with the UV lighting. So it's best to store paper flat as well and protected in either a folder or some type of protective. If it's a very rare document, we always like to store them in a Mylar sleeve. So one of the most important things when it comes to document storage is I recommend removing any metal fasteners. This includes anything from eyelets to paper clips to staples. So in this document, here's an example of, you can see this stain from a paper clip that rusted over time. So any documents that have staples, remove them all. It's okay to store them together, but it's best to store paper separately because it's acidic. But if you want to keep paper together, these are some great paper clips. They're archival quality. They come in a box of 200 for about $8. They're just a nice little plastic clip. So this is a great item for keeping documents together. So next we're going to talk about Basketry. So this is a beautiful macaw basket that belongs to my father. And the most important thing about basketry storage is to keep it out of direct sunlight. This is so important because I'm going to show you an example here. If you can see the designs on the outside of the basket, there's the red whirling log design, and you can see the design on the top. So when we take off the lid and look in the interior of the basket, you can see how vibrant the colors are. They're just a beautiful, vibrant green and red. And so the fading over time on the exterior of the basket is due to being displayed or stored in some type of lighting. So it's not good to keep basketry stored under a lamp either. That's not recommended. The less lighting, the better. And you also want to keep basketry away from any type of heating vent, away from anything that produces moisture, like humidifiers. And the most popular thing in people's homes these days, I have one myself, are these oil diffusers. So these produce a lot of humidity. Don't keep this on the same shelf as your basketry or near paper products. It's just not recommended. And so the last item I'm going to talk about, newspaper. and you can see some yellowing in the corner. And this is due to the newspaper reacting to itself. So newspapers are high in acids, and when you store them together, they begin to yellow naturally. So I've had people call and ask what's the best way to store them. And there's this spray, Bookkeeper deacidification spray. So the best way is to spray each page. You take it and spray each page individually, and then take the newspaper apart and create a buffer between each page, something like an acid-free tissue or an acid-free folder, but just keep each page apart. And that will help preserve your newspaper. So that pretty much covers the 4 objects. And just to reiterate, keep items away from lighting sources, natural light, lamps, any heating sources, humidifiers, anything that keep them out of basements or attics, places that have fluctuating temperatures, and they're also, basements are prone to floods. And try to keep them protected in folders to keep pests away from eating your precious heirlooms, things like silverfish, carpet beetles. They like to eat paper, rats, and that covers everything. Again, my name is Tessa Campbell, and I'm the Senior Curator for the Tulalip Tribe's Hibulb Cultural Center. And I hope you'll either visit us online. You can find my information there if you have any more questions. And we are now open to the public. We just reopened following social distancing measures. We opened yesterday, August 3rd, 2020. So we hope to see you either online or in person. And I thank you for watching and hope you all stay safe.